Nature is never in a hurry, and yet everything blooms at the right time. You don't see a tree pulling at its branches because spring is taking too long. You don't see a river becoming anxious because it hasn't reached the ocean yet. But you do this. You look at your life and wonder why you're not there yet. Why haven't you found the right person? Why hasn't the opportunity arrived? Why aren't you earning more? Why haven't you become the person you promised yourself you would become? So you push harder. You check your phone again. You send another message. You change the plan. You compare yourself with someone who seems to be moving faster. And even when you're doing nothing, your mind is somewhere else. It is already living in tomorrow. You imagine the day everything finally works. The day you get the job, the day you have enough money, the day someone chooses you, the day you finally become confident, and you tell yourself that when that day arrives, you will finally relax. But there is something strange about this. The future you're waiting for never actually arrives as the future. It arrives as another present moment, and then you find another thing to wait for. Another mountain, another deadline, another version of yourself. So you keep moving toward a life that always seems one step ahead of you. Perhaps this is why forcing things can become so exhausting, not because you are working too hard, but because beneath the effort is a quiet fear. The fear that if you stop pushing, everything will stop moving, that if you don't control every detail, life will pass you by. But what if that isn't how life works? What if some things cannot be pulled toward you? What if they have their own season? And what if learning when to act and when to stop forcing is not giving up, perhaps? It is a different kind of strength. There is a difference between waiting and being trapped inside the thing you're waiting for. You can see it in the way you check your phone. You already checked it 2 minutes ago, but you check again. Maybe someone replied, maybe something changed, maybe the answer finally arrived. Nothing has happened, so you check again. The same thing happens when you're waiting for a job, or waiting for money, or waiting for someone to love you. You tell yourself you're being patient, but underneath the patience, your mind is counting. How many days? How many months? How much longer? And every day, without an answer, begins to feel like evidence that something is going wrong. This is anxious waiting. It looks calm from the outside, but inside, you're constantly pushing against time. You want tomorrow to arrive faster. You want the uncertainty to end. You want life to give you an answer before you're ready to live without one. Calm waiting feels completely different. It doesn't mean you stop caring. It doesn't mean you abandon your ambition. It means you stop demanding that reality follow your timetable. You plant the seed, you water it, you give it sunlight, and then you leave the soil alone. You don't dig it up every morning to see whether it has grown. But that's exactly what we often do with our lives. We start something, then immediately look for proof that it's working. We apply for something, then spend the whole day imagining the answer. We begin changing ourselves, then become impatient because the change isn't visible yet. And slowly, the thing we're trying to build becomes another source of anxiety. We forget that growth has a rhythm. Some things happen because you act. Other things happen because you wait, and some things happen only after you stop interfering with them. This is where the ancient Taoist idea of Wu Wei begins to appear. It is often translated as effortless action, but it doesn't mean doing nothing. It means learning to stop fighting the movement of life. When fighting is no longer helping, the river still moves, the tree still grows, the seed still becomes a tree. None of them need to hurry. And perhaps your life is moving too, even during the seasons when you cannot see it. Imagine a river. It never stops moving. It travels through valleys. It bends around rocks. It becomes narrow in some places and wide in others. Yet you never see it fighting the mountain. It doesn't stand at the foot of a rock and say, "I must get through this." It simply finds the opening and keeps moving. This is close to what the Taoists meant by Wu Wei, not laziness, not passivity, not giving up on what you want. It is action without unnecessary force. You still make the call, you still send the application, you still practice your craft, you still build the thing you've been dreaming about, but you stop trying to control every part of what happens afterward. You do what belongs to you, then you allow life to do what belongs to life. This sounds simple, but it can be difficult when you deeply want something. Because desire creates a picture in your mind. You imagine exactly how things should happen. You imagine the person who should choose you, the opportunity that should arrive, the amount of money you should be earning by now, and when reality takes a different path, you resist it, you push harder, you worry more, you try another strategy. Sometimes action is necessary. But sometimes, you're not moving forward anymore. You're simply pushing against a closed door. Wu Wei asks you to notice the difference. There is effort that moves you forward, and there is effort that comes from fear. One feels like rowing with the current. The other feels like trying to push the river in the direction you want it to flow. The river does not need to know where every bend leads. It only needs to respond to the ground beneath it. Perhaps you can do the same. You don't need to know exactly how your life will unfold. You don't need to solve the next 5 years tonight. You only need to recognize what is yours to do. Right now, then do it fully. And when it is done, let the moment be done. This is not surrendering your ambition. It is surrendering the exhausting belief that everything must happen according to your plan. The seed still needs water. The soil still needs tending. But no amount of pulling on the stem will make the flower open faster. Some things grow because you work. Some things grow because you wait. And wisdom begins when you learn which is which. You don't need to stop caring about your future. You only need to stop living there. When you are waiting for a message, come back to the room you're sitting in. When you're waiting for a job, return to the work that is in front of you. When you're worried about where your life will be a year from now, notice where your feet are today. The future will always ask for your attention, but it has nothing to give you yet. Only this moment is available. There is a simple practice you can try. Choose one thing you normally do while thinking about tomorrow. Eating, walking, working, drinking tea, and for a few minutes do only that. Don't solve your life while you're doing it. Don't calculate how far you've come. Don't imagine how much further you need to go. Just be there. You may notice how often your mind reaches forward. Let it. Then gently return. This is not about becoming passive. It is about putting your effort where your hands actually are. You can prepare for tomorrow. You can build towards something. You can want more, but you don't have to sacrifice today to prove that you care about tomorrow. A farmer prepares the soil, plants the seed, waters it, then waits, not because he has stopped caring, but because he understands that pulling on the plant is not part of growing it. Perhaps your life is asking for the same kind of patience. Do what is yours to do, then leave room for what isn't. A flower does not open because you stare at it. A river does not reach the ocean because you worry about it, and a tree does not become taller by comparing itself with the forest around it. They simply continue, day after day, season after season, growing when conditions allow, resting when they don't. Perhaps you can learn something from that. There will be things you want that will not arrive when you expect. There will be doors that stay closed longer than you hoped. There will be seasons when it feels as though nothing is happening. Don't mistake stillness for failure. Some things are changing beneath the surface. The seed is becoming a root. The root is becoming a tree. You simply cannot see it yet. So keep doing what belongs to you. Work when it is time to work. Rest when it is time to rest. Speak when something needs to be said. Be silent when nothing needs to be added. And when you reach the edge of what you can control, let the river carry the rest. You don't have to know exactly when everything will arrive. You don't have to force tomorrow to come closer. Tomorrow will come, and when it does, it will become today. So perhaps the real practice is not learning how to control your future. It is learning how to remain fully present while your future is becoming. Nature is never in a hurry, yet nothing is forgotten. The rain comes, the river moves, the seed opens, the flower blooms, not late, not early, only when its time has come. And perhaps your life is like that too, not behind, not ahead, just becoming in its own time.